Yo, what's going on, guys? We are back for another JJK chapter, and we get the continuation of Takaba's fight. He has lasted longer than Kashimo, so I guess we see where Gege's priorities are at. No, but either way, this is a banger chapter, in my opinion. Chapter 241, titled The Idiot Survivor, Move On Up. So we know he's gonna have some sort of, I guess, like power up or resolve to actually fight Kenny, but we start off with a flashback, which right away was red flags for me because, when we start with a flashback, it usually means that character's dead, but he's not dead. We start with Takaba and he's like getting ready for, like, I guess, practice, his comedy practice, and he's yelling at his partner, I guess his partner, because they're not like, they're sort of partners but not really. But this dude's like, oh, my bad, I'm sorry, I'm late. And Takaba's like, you reek of booze, like you are hungover, you've been out drinking. And obviously in Japanese culture it's really common to go out drinking, and I'm pretty sure they're in college right now, so it makes sense. But they're doing some of their bits, and Takaba's like, going all in on like this rapping bit, and this dude behind him, I guess his partner, he's like, oh, sorry, I forgot it, man. And Takaba's like, god damn, bro, like, really, do you care about comedy? And this is what this whole part's about, and it's Takaba asking this dude if he really cares about comedy, and like at the end of the day, the flashback is about if Takaba actually cares about comedy, or like why is he doing it, So he's like, why don't you care? And this dude's like, I do. But Takaba's like, you're not cutting it, bro. Say you're sorry at least, because this happens way too much. And he's really mad. Like, we don't see Takaba mad like this ever, because, he's the goofy guy. But his partner's talking about, you're the one setting the example for being like a completely antisocial person. Because, talk about all he does is work on his comedy, I guess. And like, he doesn't go out with like his friends. He just basically works. And he's like, you don't even come out to the comedy shows with us, and when you do, you don't even laugh at like most of the bits. And Taka was like, I'll laugh if it's funny. Like, it just ain't funny, bro. And he's trying to defend himself and stuff like that. And he's like, thanks to all of that, our upperclassmen don't care about us. Like, they'd rather just let us be here and do our own stuff because they don't like you. And I mean, this is just too funny because, we always thought Taka was the funny guy, but nobody really likes him. And we learned that he wants to do comedy so that people can like understand him and stuff. And talk about, he's obviously getting really pissed. And he's like, you go out all night and drink, come into practice hungover and late just for me, basically, because they're talking about, we want you to go out, but you're not. I guess this is his like comeuppance, or like that's what this, like, his partners thinks of it as. But his partner keeps talking about how we only perform like 1 or 2 times a year. Yeah, a year. And when we do it, it's all like overdone, out of date, like acts. So like nobody really laughs at us. And Takaba's like, well, every time you open your mouth, all you do is want to talk about the girls that you're laying that are in like the club or like a part of the staff. And he's like, nobody really cares about the connections that you have in the biz, or like, because you keep talking about them. But then Takaba, he's getting really, really mad, and he like grabs him by the shirt and like gets up in his face and is talking about like how him cozying up with all these girls, or like being with these girls, like it would be like an insta kill by some person in a manga. And obviously I don't know the manga. It's like Ushijima the Lone Shark, not sure, but either way, they're getting pissed off at each other. And this dude's like, oh, you're just jealous of me because I actually get women. And Takaba punches him in the mouth. Like, I mean, rightfully so, because this dude's just getting like under his skin, I guess. And Taka was like, I don't care about that, bro. Like, we should just take comedy seriously. And the dude, his partner, talks about like, this isn't funny at all, though. Doing comedy with you isn't fun. Like, how can people like laugh at the stuff we're doing if we can't even laugh at it? And that's the same thing I'm pretty sure Takaba said last chapter when he was getting his ass beat. So, I mean, this is where it all comes back to. And he's like, why did I become a comedian again? And we cut to a different scene of like him getting, I guess, like a grading on one of his comedy shows. And this dude, or like his manager or something, is talking about like, pigs will fly before everybody in the audience laughs at your joke. So, don't take it too hard. And Taka was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And he like keeps this with him, this statement where like, not everybody's gonna like my jokes, so it's okay if, not everybody laughs. And that's like not what he wants at the end of the day, but he keeps asking, why did I become a comedian? And then we cut, but I'm not sure if this is his old partner or his new partner he's talking to, but they're talking about, we should disband. And Taka was like, please, man, let's just give it one more shot. And the dude's like, no, bro. How many like one more shots are we gonna give it, man? Like all of our friends or the people around us are like getting married, they're providing for their families and stuff. Like we're 30. And I love that. Like, and we see them dressed up in this just stupid like ballet suit thing with a big like a goose coming out of it, out of like the penis area. And it just looks like too funny. And they're talking like, how long can we do this? Like, how much longer can we like make fools of ourselves? Like while we're getting older, we're supposed to be providing with people. They even talk about like people our age who are in the same business are already climbing the ladder. We're just behind everybody, and this dude doesn't want to be made fun of, I guess, anymore. But we cut to Takaba in his bedroom or whatever, and he's just talking about how his life is shitty. He's like, I'm a lone wolf comic by myself. I don't really need work, I guess, but I should. And he's like talking about how like this solo work is fine because he doesn't need another person to like make him funny. I guess he wants to see how other people laugh at his comedy. But he's like, damn, I wish life could just be easier. I wish I could be on a variety show or a comedy show. And then he's like, damn, how much longer until I've told every single joke that I can? And he asks again, why am I becoming a comedian, or why did I want to? And then he cuts back to like when he said, take comedy seriously, dude. And he starts remembering of like when he was younger, people didn't really like him because he was like a serious kid. Like he would always like be really cold to other people. But like, of course, no kids want to be next to the weird kid that's really serious. So he was lonely. He wanted people to understand him more, and he wanted to make friends. So he just joked around and like made a fool of himself, I guess. And he just became the class clown at the end of the day. And he was happy because he made friends, and, people liked him and people were happy and he was happy. But, he never found a partner at the end of the day for like his comedy, I guess. And that part, like, it tears him up, it seems like. But he's sitting there watching some comedy show, I think, eating his food. He's like, must be nice to, I guess, be on a show. And we see, like, it says, like, next up on stage, and, like, he cuts up to, like, look, and we cut to this white screen, which, when I was first reading it, I was like, this has to be, like, the death flag. Like, he's dying, bro. But, of course, no. He keeps talking about, I want people to get to know me better. Like, if they know me, then they'd be able to think that I'm funny, or, like, they would know that I'm funny. And he's like, I wouldn't be lonely either. And we see him sitting on like this school desk thing, and he's talking to his younger self, who still has the long ass like lamb chops basically. But his younger self is like, what even is taking comedy seriously? Like, comedy is comedy. You can't really take it seriously. He's like, everybody wants to see the goofy me, right? Not the serious me. His younger self is still talking, but his older self says like, I don't think that's what's important. Like, all the backstage and business stuff is just like too much. Like, it has nothing to do with if people think you're funny. And Taka was like, is that like any fun? Or the younger self, he's like, is that even any fun? Like, why are you even doing comedy in the first place? You have to deal with all this like adult bullshit, basically. But Takaba, he says, I became a comedian because I want everyone to get to know me better. Keyword everyone. And he says, and yet I said that to Kenjaku. And it was like, I don't care if you don't think I'm funny. All that matters is other people think I'm funny. So his, like, I guess his goal in becoming a comedian was having everybody think he's funny. Basically, like, limited himself by saying, like, or thinking that, not everybody needs to think I'm funny, because it'll never happen. It's impossible. But again, he's thinking back to his, like, I guess, manager or whatever. And he's like, what he tried to say to me, like, was right, but, like, I'm still not going to give up. Or like, he wasn't trying to tell me to give up. And that was like the thing where he said the pigs will fly when everybody thinks that your joke is funny. And of course, he's not trying to put him down. He's trying to like lift him up, like his self-esteem. But it put him in a bad mindset where he like thinks not everybody needs to think I'm funny, where he wants other people to think I'm funny. I think that makes sense. He says like, I wanted to like affirm myself, like after that bad like experience or whatever. He's like, I wanted to feel good. So he says, I took his words in a way that like just made me sort of give up. And he says like, I wasn't confronting the laughs head on, I wasn't trying to make people laugh and change my comedy. I was, set in my ways and stuff like that. So he says, along the way, I stopped taking it seriously. And I'm guessing that's after when like his like, manager or whatever said, pigs will fly. But he says all this because he just didn't want to get hurt. Like, he like limited himself because he knew he couldn't make everybody laugh at that time. So, why even try if you're just going to get depressed and stuff? So we cut back to the present, and Kenny's chasing after Takaba, of course, and he's surprised. He stops. because Takaba's like down on all fours, like doing that like Japanese head bow thing where, where you put the hands on the ground, you put your head on the ground. And Kenny's amazed by this. Like, we even get like a perfect little drawing with like the golden spin thing, it looks like, which I'm not sure if that's a, a JoJo reference. But Kenny's like, what? Oh my gosh, this prostration. It's amazing. I think that's the word for, like, the English word is prostration, while there's a completely different word in Japanese. But, he's like, it took me to my late 20s to be able to get to this level. And obviously we're like, Kenny, what? Why do you care about this dude's like prostration and like his form? Like, it shouldn't matter. And Kenny realizes it too. He's like, what, why do I care? Like, what am I saying? And like, first of all, my theory, Takaba's like comedic ability or whatever is in play right now, or maybe it's like an evolution of his curse technique or something, but it seems like Kenny's sort of like, he's like, reality is bending around the way that he perceives Takaba, or something like that, where he's like, oh my God, I'm admiring this beautiful pose. But he's like, what? Like, why am I reminiscing about my past and how like I had to wait till my late 20s to get that good? But either way, like Takaba, he's talking about like, I'm sorry, like I'm so sorry for lying to you. And I mean, I fuck with this part because Takaba, he's really like stealing his resolve. I think that's what it's called. But he's like, I lied to you. I don't think it's fine that, you don't think I'm funny. He's like, I just didn't want to get hurt. That's why I said it. So like, I'm just trying to put you down to protect myself. Also, if you guys are liking the JJK content, want new chapter reviews each week and other manga reviews, just please subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Back to the video. But he's like, even if 99 out of 100 people laugh at my joke, I won't be satisfied until that last one laughs. And during this, I'm pretty sure Kenny's walking up to him to like, finish this fight, because after he was shocked at what just happened, he was like, okay, I gotta end this right now. But Takaba starts talking and stuff, and then at the end of this, he's like, which is why I will make you laugh until you puke. He's like, that's my brand of comedy. That's my type of comedy. And of course, we get this really like intense face from Takaba. He looks like he has some resolve to actually fight now. And Kenny's like, is that so? Well, let's see you try. And on his face, it's written excited. And, just like I think a few, or like last chapter, I think he had it right on his face, like try to make me laugh. And this is just Takaba's ability in play again. And like, we get the final translator or editor's note, and they're like, get those big laughs going. A perfect 100 for like perfect 100 people laughing. So we have a break next week. That's the end of the chapter. And sad, of course, because I want to see what Takaba can actually do, because we see him sort of get dog walked a little bit in the last two chapters, but it seems like he might be able to do something now. But of course, like, there's still the idea that Gege's just gonna have Kenny stomp him. Like, if Kenny just opens his like domain right now, I don't know what would happen, but it seems like Kenny's excited for what's going to happen, because, the writing on his face is like, your true feelings to Takaba, which I really like that aspect of his curse technique, I guess, because in an intense enough moment or whatever, he can see how someone's feeling or something like that. But this fight is just, I mean, it's pretty good, to be honest. Like, the Kashimo fight was more just like epic, raw shit, but this one's turning more like philosophical, I guess. And of course, he's getting more chapters than Kashimo, so I mean, I don't really know what that means for Gege's feelings on Takaba and Kashimo, but I mean, obviously Kashimo was going against Sukuna, the king of curses, in his true form, or he had to change to his true form and then beat him. But, this is Kenny. I would say he's, on the same tier, but, not nowhere close to Sukuna, but still on the same tier of strength, somewhere around there. So, I mean, it's pretty amazing that Takaba has lasted this long, and if he lasts more than 2 more chapters, I'm definitely going to be really surprised, because this fight like seemed at the start like a throwaway fight, like, just kind of a few gags and we're going to be done. After this chapter, this seems like a real character turning point for Takaba, and it's either he gets some real like character development here, or he's gonna die. Because we're getting his flashback, we're getting his like reason for wanting to be funny and be a comedian. And at the end of the day, it's either he's gonna be funny or he's gonna die, or he can be funny and then die. Which, I mean, truly, I don't really see how Kenny like lets him live, unless Kenjaku is like entertained enough by Takaba that he's like, you know what, you did a great job, go leave, or like something like that. But he's still part of the culling games, and he has to kill everybody in the culling games to end it. So I'm not fully sure. This chapter was a banger to me, though. Like, I think the last chapter was pretty good, lots of gags, but this one's like, hits hard, man. Now I have a reason to actually like Takaba, and like, you know, we learn about like just him. And I mean, obviously lots of death flags at the start of this chapter, but at the end of it, it seems like we're gonna get another chapter full of fighting, and then maybe his ending then. But yeah, let me know if you guys think Takaba's gonna die, because I'm not sure. But Takaba really needed some like character development, I guess, because he was just the comedic relief character, like literally the embodiment of the comedic relief with his curse technique and everything. So like, it's nice to see him actually like turn into a real character now, because we have his like motivations and stuff. So I'm looking forward to next chapter, him making Kenny laugh, maybe. And like, that's maybe how Kenny lets him go. But again, you know, the other stuff I said before, but I am super excited, just like Kenny, for the next one. But these chapters have definitely been getting a lot better than, I guess, the Sukuna vs. Kashimo fight was okay. There wasn't much substance to it besides Kashimo getting his ass beat and like showing how epic he is. Like, I think most of us can agree Kashimo was only a character that was like built up and hyped up just to have a cool moment. Like, there's really nothing past that. He's dead, he's gone, it's over, bro. He has no real character development besides like wanting to fight Sukuna. While, you know, now we get Takaba, and we're actually getting character development for like, you know, character people actually like and stuff like that. So I predict 2 more chapters of this, if not just 1 more. And then we're gonna cut to like probably not even Sukuna versus Yuji. We might go to Hakari and Urame. Yeah, I think he's fighting Urame. So we might cut to that fight instead, because we're not sure if Hakari has hit his jackpot yet or stuff. So I want to see that fight too play out. But I'm just gonna assume the Yuji versus Sukuna fight, it's got pushed back 3 chapters. I'm gonna guess it's gonna get pushed back like another 5, so we can get that Hakari versus, you know, Urame fight and like in fully, basically. So I'm not really sure what happens next. JJK is always super like, you know, unpredictable. So thank you guys for watching. If you made it this far, I'd really appreciate if you subscribed, if you liked the video, of course. And thank you for watching again. But peace.